You're listening to Inside of You with Michael Rosenbaum. And how's everybody doing? Having a good week? Yeah? Ryan, having a good week?
Probably, hopefully.
We look tired, don't we? If you smile, you don't look as tired. Hey, how you doing? I'm not tired.
We just have a lot of things to do today, so we're doing this earlier than usual. This is a 9 a.m. recording as of for us.
Yes. But I'm excited. The guest is amazing. Mm-hmm. And we getting some good guests, and there's a couple on the horizon. So stay tuned if you're liking the show. If you're here for Ashley Greene, you came to the right place. If you enjoy the show, all I ask is, you're like, hey, that wasn't a bad interview. I'm going to subscribe and listen and give this podcast a chance. At you're
going to say
Inside You Podcast on Facebook and Instagram, at Inside Pod on the Twitter. Mm-hmm. And you could join us, Patreon. It's patreon.com/inside of you. Or is it inside? Inside of you. Mm-hmm. Patreon.com/inside of you if you want to join Patreon and support this podcast. The patrons really give us so much love and help us continue the show. They've been around forever. So I thank you, everybody, for joining Patreon. I'll send you a message if you join and contribute to the show. And the Inside of You online store has a bunch of tons of cool stuff, Ryan. Like what?
Smallville lunchboxes.
We got signed by me and Tom.
Signed by you and Tom. I'm going off memory.
The pilot
some tumblers.
Episode signed by me. Some tumblers, some shirts,
a secret nude photograph.
A secret what? What the hell, man?
No.
I don't remember that. Yeah, I did a really weird podcast yesterday. I won't say where or what, but it was just odd. I felt like I don't need to be here. That's what I felt. I felt like I'm kind of going with the flow and should I be doing this kind of thing? But I don't know. We'll see what happens. I'm not going to promote it. I just was like, Jesus, what am I doing? I hope you're enjoying the podcast. Thanks for joining. Also on my Instagram, at the Michael Rosenbaum, the link tree. It's got cameos if you want a nice juicy cameo and all the cons we're going to. We're going to Ontario, California in May. We're going to Dallas, Toronto, Chicago, Denver, Smallville, Cruise. All that's available. Check it out and much more. And, of course, my Puppy Fresh Breath, Rosie's Puppy Fresh Breath. If you have a dog that has stinky breath and you want him or her to have a healthy smile, then go to Amazon and the link tree. Yeah, it's in the link tree. Ashley Greene, she was awesome. She was so sweet and bubbly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just, but not bubbly in a, like, bubbly. I just meant like fine champagne. You know what I mean? Like a good champagne.
Like refined, but also like a little fun?
Yeah. 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 That's exactly what I'm thinking right now. She was awesome. You know her from Twilight and so many other things. And, you know, she likes horror. She does a little horror. And we talk about a lot of stuff. So let's get inside of Ashley Greene.
It's my point of view. You're listening to Inside of You with Michael Rosenbaum.
Inside of You with Michael Rosenbaum was not recorded in front of a live studio audience. When did we meet?
I feel like I met you. Did I? My first memory is on a lot in
WB lot.
Yeah, and like a valet.
And what happened?
I don't know. You told me about. I think they were gone, and you were like, "Oh, they'll be right back," and then you told them to take my car. You were very nice.
Oh,
yeah.
And you remember that?
I remember that. Yeah.
And what show were you doing?
I was doing this movie with Joel Silver called The Apparition. Horrible movie, but
was it bad?
Yeah, it ended up being not great at all.
I love how you could just say when a movie isn't good, you're like me. I'm just like, oh, don't see it. Don't, you know.
Yeah, it wasn't. You know what? It was exciting because it was one of the first big things I did after Twilight as a lead with the studio.
So it's exciting.
It was exciting. Yeah, it definitely.
It's just a drag when it's like it turns out not to be the way you.
Yeah, it ended up being. I think when he was parting ways, and And there was like a whole thing, and instead of like releasing in the theaters we were supposed to, they like released the most limited amount possible. And so the whole thing was just kind of a shit show.
Do you know when a movie's bad? Do you know it while you're filming it sometimes, or do you rarely know that?
No, I don't think so. Because we thought with Twilight, there's this like, I don't know if you've seen it, but
Twilight, yes.
Yeah. Well, you know,
I mean,
you're a man.
I'm one of the guys that the actual an honest dude when I say I really love the movies.
Hey,
I do. And people, some of my friends are like, you, because
you're like I'm comfortable
Ryan,
with my masculinity.
Well, Ryan knows my taste, but I just really enjoyed it. I remember after seeing the first one going, that was awesome.
I love it. Okay,
I know.
good.
And a lot of people will, you know, I mean, look, obviously it's a huge success and people love it, but you know, I think people are closeted and they don't say
people are always so apologetic at
closeted, meaning closeted fans.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I get it.
Yeah.
No, people are apologetic wnever they're like, I haven't seen it. I'm like, it's well, it's okay. You don't have to feel bad if you didn't like it. You don't have to feel bad if you didn't see it because it did great. So don't feel bad. But anyways, the baseball scene, we thought it was going to be horrible when we were filming it. It was one of the first things that we filmed, and it was raining, and there was like there was no continuity. And we were just like, no one's going to see this. This is not going to be a good movie. And then it turned out to be one of the most epic scenes. And so I think that speaks volumes, one, to just editing and sound and soundtrack. But you can be a part of something and think like, I don't remember what it was, but I read something and I was like, this is such a fucking phenomenal script. It's so good. And then I saw it on screen and was like, nope. Not as good. Like should have been on HBO and maybe not on like ABC or wherever it was.
I hate that. I don't know if the word's jaded or I don't know what it is about me, but maybe being in the industry so long and I have like a horror movie night every Tuesday with my friends. But I watch so many movies and I'm tough. I am tough. I pick things apart. And I've done stuff that everybody could pick apart and stuff that I'm not really proud of. And I've done stuff that I'm proud of. But I still am very tough on movies. Like if it's not grounded, if it doesn't stick to its own rules, if the acting's not good, if it's forced, if they're trying to tell you something, force, spoon feed you. And there's just certain things. So I have a tough time latching on to something. And like for that movie, The Substance.
Oh, yeah.
I fucking hated it. And I love Demi Moore.
Me too. I didn't finish it.
To me, it's just like, it makes no sense.
Yeah. I have a hard time with, I'm glad you said that because a lot of things that are nominated, sometimes I'm like,
yeah.
Maybe I just don't have like that refined taste in film, I guess. But there's a lot of things like that where I'm just like, what? There's some things where like I know a couple of films that won this year, like one person they wrote it and they produced it and they edited it and they did everything. And I feel like the win was validated, but
I loved Denora.
Yeah.
I thought she was phenomenal.
We were just talking about that last night and how I actually hadn't seen it, but my mother-in-law was like, she was savage in the movie. And then you see her like accept her award and she's so demure.
Yeah.
And she was like, oh wow, she was really acting. Like she's not that at all.
So when you're doing Apparition, is that what's called?
Fuck off. Yeah.
No, but like you're not during the movie thinking this is going to suck. You're thinking maybe it's going to be good. You just don't know how it's going to be cut together.
Yeah. Like I felt, and this is what I always have to go back to survive. I'm like, I will show up and do the best job to my ability that I can do. And so I've been a part of some things that are not super great, but I still think that what I did stands up. And so
that's confidence.
That's what I can do.
Well, that's all you can do. It's like, if you're a part of something that's like, take care of your own ass.
Yeah.
Like I'm going to go in there and I'm going to kill it. So at least people go, what were they doing in that movie?
Yeah.
I'd rather hear that than,
I'd rather people be like, that was a great movie. But if we're not going to get that, at least.
Oh God.
Yeah.
Yeah. We'll get into all this stuff, but we reconnected at a convention and it's funny because we reconnected after the convention was over at the airport. and we started talking. Do you like going to conventions? And what do you like about it?
I do. I like the fact that when Twilight was happening, it was absolutely not an option for us to do anything like that or really connect with our fans in that way because the security was so intense and people were breaking down barricades and like it was kind of crazy. And so to be able to now come back 10, 15 years later, 12 years later, and be able to actually connect with our fans and hear how we were a part of something that had such a insane impact in their life is really special. And so that part of it, I think, is really cool. It's exhausting. Like you're really tired by the end of it.
Because you give so much.
Yeah, I feel like and I think you probably do too, or there are some people who are just like, next. And I think, why are you even there?
I'm not going to name anyone who does that. There's an actor who apparently
whoever could you be
signs
talking
and
about?
moves on.
Yeah.
No, it's William Shatner. But he's a legend. But he's like, there's so many people that he just, what is he going to do? Take his time? He's like an older guy. He's like 95.
Yeah. I heard this about Chuck Norris. All of those, like the kind of like legendary people.
Yeah. I couldn't do that to people. I couldn't.
No.
If someone was coming up to pay for an autograph,
You make them cry?
I could not. I have to look at them, acknowledge them, talk to them, ask them about, or give them a hug or something. That's just
who you
part
are
of me.
because you're a good human. Yeah.
Well, it's just part of me. It's just like, I can't be mean. I can't be.
Yeah.
It's not in me.
Yeah.
I can be mean to someone who's mean.
And it's this is the thing. It's a beautiful experience. And like in the same way, I think, like in the same way when you do charity for something and you end up, I think, gaining a lot more, honestly. Like the feeling that it gives you is kind of like, you can't really replicate it. Kind of a similar thing when you engage and have a really nice moment with a fan. Like it's a beautiful feeling and a really cool moment. And so I think you have the opportunity to do that or go like, okay, let me just like get through the day.
Yeah. No, I think that's true. I think, do you ever get emotional with fans? Has a fan ever said anything to you like this, you mean so much to me, this movie meant so much to me, and all of a sudden you find yourself a little emotional? Are you able to just,
Oh no, I'm an emotional human for sure. Someone just proposed in front of me and I cried.
Really?
Yeah.
They proposed in front of you.
She didn't cry. I cried. I was like, why are you not crying? Like, this is so exciting. I love love.
I would cry and say, I'm crying because I can't believe you would do this in front of fucking me.
Well,
good Lord. Why are you proposing in front of me?
I'm married with a kid, so
yeah,
I'm not. But no. I think there's definitely like some, and there's, I think whenever people talk about their parents or someone who has passed that they had like a strong connection with Twilight with, that's always something that gets me.
What was it like growing up in Jacksonville, Florida?
I loved it while I was there. I don't think I could ever go back and live there at this point, but it was great. We, were skipping class to go to the beach, and I feel like I actually had a youth and a childhood there where I feel like a lot of people don't get that. I was in Middleburg until I was...
I grew up in Newburgh. You grew up in Middleburg.
And Middleburg was dirt roads, and my neighbor had a horse, and and then it got real methy, and we left. But so I don't know, it was just I remember like having a really beautiful childhood. But then I decided that I wanted to go into acting, and just there wasn't much there for me anymore.
Yeah, but like, whenever I read someone's father was a Marine,
yeah,
I think discipline.
Oh yeah.
I think tough on you, tough love. But how was your father? Exactly
that. He's a big softy, but he was really strict, and he was really, I think I owe my work ethic to him completely, and have actually been kind of like ruminating on how I give my child work ethic without maybe being as hard on her, because it's something that I take pride in at this point. But it was, he was very much like, if you're not good at something, you become good at something because you work hard and you don't quit until you achieve it. And so I was good at a lot of things and made straight A's and was in advanced classes and graduated early and got an agent and moved to LA. Like, I think a lot of these things were due to that. But it was hard at times.
I feel like if my father wasn't tough on me, if he was more nurturing and more understanding and patient with me, I would have excelled in school. I would have done a lot better.
Yeah.
That was the opposite. So like the strict didn't work with me, with my personality. I was sort of I was sensitive.
Yeah.
And I felt everything around me, all my surroundings. It had a big impact on who I was and who I thought I was and who I wasn't, you know?
Well, I feel like it didn't exist in the way that it does now, but the whole idea of gentle parenting and the whole idea of understanding what works for your child and instead of going like, you have to excel in all these things, maybe honing in on what they're good at versus focusing on what they're not good at.
Yes.
But we also just, I don't think, have the vast amount of knowledge that we have at our fingertips now for that. Like, I think, honestly, my dad was hard on us, but I think he did the best he could with what he had at the time. And that he worked really hard, 2 jobs around the clock to make sure that we had a better life than what he and my mom had. And so.
Are they still together?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
How many years?
Oh, God.
Well, how old are you?
Well, yeah, they got married when my mom was 16. She had my brother at 18, me at 20. I don't know.
So let's just say 45 years.
Yeah. They've been together forever.
40 years?
But they're probably 45. Yeah. And they're happily married. I mean, she gets on her nerves sometimes because he definitely has ADHD undiagnosed and is all over the place. But but they, they love each other.
Was he harder on your brother? Because he was
my mom was protective over me in that sense, where she was like,
leave her alone.
Yeah, she was like, this is my baby girl. And so he was definitely a lot easier on me than my brother. And I got to see the mistakes that my brother made. Like, I was very aware of how my father responded to the things that he did and avoided those.
Inside of You is brought to you by Quince. I don't know if you've heard about Quince, but you should have heard about Quince because Quince is amazing. I just got a cashmere sweater for $50 from Quince, and I have been complimented on it left and right. I mean, lightweight shorts and shirts start at $30. Pants for any occasion, comfortable lounge sets. And you know what? I am going to treat myself to a first-class quality suitcase at an economy price, Ryan, from Quince. Quince is really the place you want to go if you want to get great stuff at a lower price. Vacation season is it's right here. And this year, I'm treating myself to the luxe upgrades I deserve with Quince's high-quality travel essentials at fair prices. By partnering directly with top factories, Quince cuts out the cost of the middleman and passes the savings on to us.
And the best part? All Quince items are priced 50 to 80% less than similar brands.
And Quince only works with factories that use ethical and responsible manufacturing practices and premium fabrics and finishes. And we love that. I mean, geez, if you want a piece of luggage or travel accessory or you want clothing, Quince is the place to go. My friend Ethan even said, yeah, I got a cashmere sweater at Quince. I'm like, so did I. Why don't we wear them one night? It's awesome. I always like I like to look nice sometimes because on the podcast, I usually am laid back and comfortable. But when I want to go out and go to a movie or go out to dinner, I want to wear something nice. And, who wants to spend tons of money on clothes when you can get great clothes from Quince at a reasonable price? More than reasonable, I'll say. For your next trip, treat yourself to the luxe upgrades you deserve from Quince. Go to quince.com/inside for 365-day returns plus free shipping on your order. That's Quince, QUINCE.com/inside to get free shipping and 365-day returns. Quince.com/inside. Inside of You is brought to you by NHTSA. Every day when we're on the road, people around us endanger themselves and others by using their phones while driving. They think they're hiding it, but we've all seen them and know exactly who they are. For instance, there's the sneak-a-peeker who darts their eyes between the road and their texts. There's also the got-a-ticketer looking upset because they just got a ticket for using their phone while driving. And what about that fast scroller who can't drive 5 minutes without updating their social feeds? Or the nightlighter who has that mysterious glow illuminating the inside of their car after dark? Do any of these sound familiar? If they remind you of yourself or someone you know, rethink your behavior before you find yourself becoming the fender benderer, the veering off the roader, or worst of all, the driver who killed someone. Put the phone away or pay. paid for by NHTSA. But your discipline in terms of being a professional, being on set, on time, knowing your lines, that kind of stems from childhood.
Yeah. And there's a little bit of, I think I've hit a point now of understanding of kind of, there's a bit of perfectionism in there, right? Which is not necessarily great for this industry. And so kind of finding a way to toe the line of being able to just let it be what it will be or do the preparation and then let go of that was definitely something that was learned a bit later in my career.
Yeah, that kind of tortures me. I think I'm getting better with it, but the perfectionism, the always having to be on or always having to be great and learning how to just let it go and not having to be great and saying, hey, you're good enough.
Yeah. Well, and
it's good enough. You're good enough.
And trust the editing.
Yeah, but it's not even that. It's just like I'm so hard on myself with everything I do that I want.
Well, then you miss the enjoyment a little bit.
You certainly do. And that's why I think in the last couple of years, I've definitely changed the way I think about things. I enjoy the process more. I'm trying to. But overcoming a lot of things that stem from childhood, can be tough. Did you have anxiety as a kid or any depression or anything?
Not that I know of. I think that anxiety certainly happened later on in my life.
Yeah, when you least expect it, and you're like, "Is this a panic attack or am I dying?"
This is a heart attack for sure. No, I just had and I this happened after pregnancy, but I now have sugar crashes, and those give you anxiety. And if I don't,
I just had a donut. I know what that means.
Good for you.
Yeah, thanks.
I had some honey before I came, just in case.
That's healthier than a donut.
Yeah, it is. I don't like donuts.
It was raspberry filled.
That
delicious.
Sounds horrendous.
Really?
Ugh.
It was so good.
I'm more of a savory person.
Are you like rainbow sprinkles kind of person?
No.
Cinnamon roll?
No, it's like salted dark chocolate.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just
nothing that's sugary sweet is like.
Yeah, I probably once every 2 weeks I order a box of donuts. Ryan, there's donuts in there if you want to grab a donut after this. You like donuts, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Good.
Join me in diabetes.
But yeah, so the anxiety happened later for you. When was the first time you noticed anxiety?
I had an anxiety attack for the first time before my first magazine cover shoot. And we were in the middle of
What was it for?
Maxim. Yeah.
Is that still around?
I don't know.
I remember Maxim. I was in Maxim before.
I just signed one, and it's one of the only they send you the poster board sometimes. And it's one of the only ones that we kept because it was my first. And my husband looks at it the other day and he goes, do you see what's written around you? And I was like, I never paid attention to it and it's highly inappropriate. But
what did it say?
Just or something about orgasms and drinking tequila and just everything on it.
What?
Was yeah. I'll take a picture and send it to you.
Yeah, send it. We'll post that.
But I was like, wow, that's, and we, it was such an interesting thing because my publicist was really dead set on me not being a sex symbol, which is, I think, fine for some people, but me, that's just not the place that I sit in as a human being. And so we really didn't want to be positioned or pushed as that. Yeah. And so when we did the Maxim cover, she was like, there will be no leather and lace. There will be none of this. And we show up and it's basically leather and lace. And I ended up wearing shorts and a t-shirt because she was like, we'll leave. We're not doing this. She's really a badass. But
because that could be tacky.
I mean,
it could be something you just don't like. It's better to just, it's forever.
Yeah.
So, and
I'm so glad that she was there and that it happened because that's just such the example of the industry though, right? They're like, yeah, totally. We get it. And then you show up and they're like, well, this is all we have. And she was like, well, that sucks for you. She has a t-shirt and jeans.
I wish I would have had that publicist when they put me in the Mondrian, the Sky, what's it called? The Sky Bar.
Oh yeah.
So they have a pool and they were doing a shoot with me and they're like, hey, would you get in the pool? So I got in the pool with my button-down shirt on and my pants, and I had the shirt open. My chest is really hairy, and I'm squirting water in my hands.
We need to also put this up,
dude. It is fucking awful.
Yeah,
it is so awful. There's a couple. There's also even that one up there, People Magazine, where it's in the corner you see with I think there's me with a glass of milk. It's why is there milk? Why can't it be a soda?
Yeah, take this glass of milk.
Here's a glass of milk. Isn't that sexy?
See if he'll do it.
What is that symbolizing? But anyway, So anyways,
yeah, I before that we were in the middle. our press tours were really intense, and so you're not sleeping much, and there's a lot going on, and I don't think I was fully processing any of it. And so the night before the shoot, I just like woke up and was like, oh my God, I can't breathe. What's going on? And I was freaking out. And my first instinct or response was like, okay, I'm just going to figure it out because I can't go to the hospital, because if I go to the hospital, they're going to write about it. And they're going to say that like, I had to be taken out of the hospital because I was doing drugs or whatever. You know, this is like the time of the Lindsay Lohan era.
Right.
But it's so messed up to think about that. Instead of my response going like, oh, I think I'm dying, I should go to the hospital, I was like, oh God, I don't want them to write about me.
I'm embarrassed.
Yeah.
Isn't that something?
Yeah. And ended up being, thankfully, a panic attack, not a heart attack. But.
You know, what happens though is when you get your first panic attack, you start to think, when is it going to happen again? And that's what usually happens. It does happen again. Did it happen again?
I had a couple more, but I figured out really quickly when they were coming on. And
what
so,
do you do?
I just reframe my mind.
How do you do that? You reframe your mind.
I basically was just kind of like, oh, I know what this is now, and everything is okay. You are safe. This is not like the thing that really propelled it was me going like, oh, there's something wrong with me. I'm going to die and go to the hospital. And once I realized, oh, I know what this is, I was able to kind of nip it in the bud. They gave me Klonopin for a minute, and then I just didn't want to be on anything. I wanted to kind of figure out what's really messed up is my doctor at one point gave me Adderall and first Xanax and then Klonopin.
That sounds like a combination of anxiety.
And I was like, oh, yeah. And then I got a little older and realized what it was and just got off everything. But,
oh God.
But, you know, it is like, it's such I love what I do. But at the time I was 20 years old, and it is kind of messed up that you don't have that many people to take care of you. And even doctors going like, oh yeah, you're famous, take whatever you want.
We put unnecessary stress on ourselves, and we overthink everything. And that mixed in with lack of sleep, that mixed in with all these other things, it just creates this perfect storm that we're unaware of. And so, you know, it happened to me when I was on set once, and I was the lead, and we're shooting this big finale scene, and it just hit me. And I just felt, I go, oh my God. And they're like, all right, Rosie, we're going to do a close-up of you now. We're going to run through it. And I go, hey, I got to go to the bathroom. And they're like, could you wait till after this? Could we do one take? And I go, no, I need to go now. And I ran like a drug addict to my trailer, digging for a Xanax that I thought I had in my backpack. But by then it's too late.
Yeah.
You already have this, so it's going to take time. And I remember thinking, praying, God, help me get through this day. Help me get through this day. I'm having this panic attack, and it will not go away. And I talk about a challenge. I acted that scene out. Big scene. Unaware of really what I was doing. I went with my instincts. I knew the lines. I knew what my character was. And I just did it. And was hoping he'd say, great, let's move on. And that's eventually what happened. It's like, great, do one more where you get up. They have no idea I'm absolutely freaking out.
That gives me anxiety. Like makes me feel anxious.
It is the worst feeling in the world. And you know, one of my therapists said once, here's what you do. When anxiety's there, pretend it's in the back seat. And when anxiety's going, just remember, tell anxiety you're driving. Well, I've tried that. I've go, hey, I'm fucking driving here, but I'm still feeling it. To me, it's diet, it's exercise, it's meditation, it's all these things. And sometimes people have disorders, you know?
Yeah. Well, at the end of the day, like you're right, we are not really programmed to do what we do at the capacity. Like I think we all do too much, too often.
Yeah.
And it's not like I just had this sugar crash, and then it drove me kind of almost into like an anxiety attack, I think, because the crazy
today?
Anxiety. No, not today.
Oh, okay.
At one of the fan events, so I had to take a break. And I was like, what is going on? And I had to look at it and go like, oh, the first thing I had was coffee with a sweet creamer, which is a no. Didn't really eat that much breakfast, came out, fans were there. And instead of going like, oh, I'm starting to feel off, I was like, well, let's just cut the line and let me get through these people. And like, just all of the things that you do that you shouldn't do.
Yeah.
Where everyone's like, are you okay? And I said, yeah, I didn't properly take care of myself. And so this is the manifestation of me not taking care of myself.
I think I didn't realize it, but I've had a panic, like a anxiety disorder for my whole life.
Yeah.
And when I was younger, I just thought this was just part of me. And then as I got older, I realized, wait a minute, you always feel like this. You've always felt like this. Why do you feel like this? And I started learning why. My environment and the dysfunction and just a lot of external things that ultimately became internalized. And I take something that, I'm always thinking, I'll get off it. And it's like I'm on Lexapro. It helps for everything for me. And because I tried forever without it.
Yeah.
And it definitely has changed my life being on it, because everything is not overwhelming anymore.
Yeah.
It's almost like even interviewing you, like I was such a perfectionist. This has to be, I remember I never sweat underneath my armpits. And at the end of interviews, I'd be like, oh my God, I'm sweat. I'm having anxiety attacks while I'm talking to them and not letting them know it. And then once I got on Lexapro, and Lexapro's not for everybody. There's different drugs. There's, and you don't have whatever.
Yeah. Do what's right for you.
See what happens. But now it's not that I don't care. I'm just more me. Like, I'm just like, I'm here. I'm trying to be present. So it's helped me considerably. But, and I always tell people therapy truly helps. Therapy has helped me so much. And I've gotten a lot of people into therapy, and it's helped them. But do you ever go to therapy? Have you gone to therapy?
I haven't gone to therapy.
Not in your life.
Not in my life. It's one of those things. I feel like everyone makes these excuses. While I was pregnant, I really started to like deep dive into how I wanted to be the best version of myself for my child. And then was like, it's probably not the best time to start while I'm pregnant, because they feel everything you feel. And then she was born, and then it just kind of, I feel like my acting coach is kind of my talk therapy.
We all have a therapist.
She knows everything, and we use it for a lot of things. But no, I would. What is the therapy that you? It's not talk therapy, but it's when they focus specifically on triggers, and it's how to like reprogram yourself so that the triggers kind of.
It's not EMDR.
It's not EMDR. My girlfriend did that.
Amazing.
Yeah, it's really intense. It's exhausting, right? The EMDR.
Yeah, I had an experience that was just profound. That was just cathartic. It really was. And I wasn't expecting it. Trust me, I don't cry in front of people. I don't like to cry in front of people. I was just so emotional.
Yeah.
Getting this in, it left my system. It just helped me release. But yeah. But have you thought of therapy ever? Like, maybe I'll go to therapy.
No, I want to.
You do?
Yeah. I think there's so many people around me who say it's such a wonderful thing, and it's one of those things that's on the list that just seems to continue to be one of my
Brought to you by BetterHelp Online Therapy, folks.
No, one of the things is I just don't want to start with a shit therapist, because I've heard horror stories where they're like, so you have to go and then you have to retell your story over and over again because you meet these therapists and they're not right for you, and so I don't want to waste my time.
Well, it's funny. I make a joke, but BetterHelp they are a sponsor.
Yeah.
And what's great about them is I always talk about it. People are always worried, what if I don't like my therapist?
Yeah.
And it's awesome because they will you just change your therapist. There's no
But can
words.
Can they take a manuscript?
All that information.
Here you go.
Well, no, but usually in the first session or two, if you're vibing.
Yeah.
So you don't have to divulge so much information. Okay. If it's months and then you're like, I want to get a new, then,
it's
then
a lot. Yeah.
And obviously you could still switch, but yeah, I understand. But, you know what and Ryan and I have talked about this. That's Ryan.
Hi, Ryan.
But usually a lot of times you think, I've got nothing to talk about it. I don't need therapy today.
Oh boy, I do.
Well, no, I'm saying is then you start talking and 10 or 15 minutes in, boy, are you glad you did. You start talking about things you weren't anticipating. It's not like you come in there and like, this is what sometimes you do. This is what I want to talk about. These feelings I have and this and this. Sometimes you go in and you just go, yeah, how's it going? Not much. I was at this convention and, this and then, week's been pretty good. You know what?
Mm-hmm.
And something triggers.
Yeah.
And you start talking about it and it feels so, and you're glad you did it. It's like working out. Like, I don't need to work out. And then once you start working out, you feel better.
Oh yeah. How often do you go to or speak to your therapist?
I try to do it every week, but, sometimes I go every other week. And if I'm really busy, I've done like once a month.
Yeah.
And, it just depends. But like, I think it's like working out, like all these things, you don't want to let too much time go, too much time pass thinking you're fine. Mm-hmm. It's like, you need to get your car tuned up, get an oil change, get like all these things.
It's like any muscle.
You can't just wait till your car breaks down to go to, to go to the shop.
Whoopsies.
This show is sponsored by BetterHelp. Traditional in-person therapy, Ryan, can cost anywhere from $100 to $250 per session. But with BetterHelp Online Therapy, you can save on average up to 50% per session. Seriously, it's the best investment you can make. With BetterHelp, you pay a flat fee for weekly sessions, saving you big on cost and on time.
Therapy should feel accessible, not like a luxury. With online therapy, you get quality care at a price that makes sense and can help you with anything from anxiety to everyday stress.
Your mental health is worth it, and now it's within reach. Therapy from BetterHelp is helpful for learning positive coping skills and how to set boundaries. It empowers you to be the best version of yourself. With over 30,000 therapists, BetterHelp is the world's largest online therapy platform, having served over 5 million people globally. It's convenient, too.
You can join a session with the click of a button, helping you fit therapy into your busy life. Plus, switch therapists at any time.
Your well-being is worth it. Visit betterhelp.com/inside to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/inside.
My mom put me into like this modeling acting school because
Cringe.
Yeah, don't do it. Because I was really shy and she wanted me to like break out of my shell a little bit. And so she put me in this thing. And one of the classes was a commercial class. And they were kind of like, I think I was 12 maybe. And they were like, well, if you grow, then every international model agency wants you, right? But if you don't, nobody wants you. And I did not grow. And so they said, well, why don't we put you in this commercial class because you could do CoverGirl, you could do, any commercial stuff, but like you're never going to walk the runways. And I took the commercial class and I loved it so much that I said, oh, I'm going to stick with this. And then my coach, he had another class, the scene study class, and he was just so incredibly passionate. And I think I like caught that from him and then ended up pursuing acting. I did model a little bit when I came out here to pay the bills.
Were you booking jobs?
I did but I did like when you go to the website and then you like see the clothes, like the same model and like the 80,000 outfits, I would do that.
Nice. Yeah. And it'd pay well.
Yeah.
So
paid my bills. Yeah. It wasn't nothing.
Well, tell me about the audition process for Twilight. Was it because did you read the books?
I read the first book before the audition, so I didn't know about it. And they sent me this thing and said it was this really big opportunity. And
they say this was going to be a big thing.
Well, they said everyone is auditioning for it, like in this town, and they think it could be a big opportunity. There's a book following, so like it could be something. And basically they were like, don't mess it up. Like pay attention to this one. And then I got the breakdown. There's no script, and the breakdown was 17-year-old girl, and that was it. And so I was.
How many lines? 2 pages, 3 pages?
No, I feel like it was like 5 pages.
Memorized it?
Of course.
Of course.
Yeah. I am not to this day, people are like, I use a teleprompter. I'm like, nope, can't do it.
I can.
I don't know. Maybe I'll become good at it. I just can't. That's a whole other story.
We get into that,
yeah.
But yeah.
But so I was like, I need more than this. And they said, well, there's a book. And I said, can you postpone everything by a day? And so I read the whole book and then went in and did not book it because it was for Bella. And they said, you should come back for Alice. Like, we think you're maybe an Alice. And then I had fallen. I loved the character of Alice. And so I basically manifested the shit out of it without knowing that I was manifesting it, where I was just like, oh no, this part is for me. And I am what she wrote. And
You believed it.
And I'm going to be a part of this. Like, this is the one that I book. And then I auditioned over the course of months and months.
So it was more than one.
I think it was 4 or 5 total.
4 or 5. And I'm guessing that they all weren't just you.
No, they were me, and they were just different people. And then they just waited for a while, to the point where I thought, oh, I must have not gotten it, and just kind of left it. And then it was between me and a girl who always ended up booking over me. And I was like, nope, not this time. It's not happening. And then they ended up calling me and telling me that I booked it. And now I look back and I'm like, oh, like there is something that there's a lot more that goes into it. But it's so funny. I now realize, like, it was before I was in my head about things, to where I was just like, I deserve to be here. And like, I deserve this part, and I'm going to book it. And then I did.
I think, there's something about caring, like really caring about what you do and taking it seriously. I think there's sometimes I'll read on something and I deep down really don't want to do it. And I'm doing it to appease whatever, my agents.
Yeah. And
I'm like, okay, then I'll give a good read. But I think when you have that sparkle, that like, just the spark of like creativity and passion that comes through. And I have a feeling when you're saying all these things about how you're like, I'm going to get this one. I manifested this. I think that shows without being like desperate.
Yeah.
There's that commitment. I know the lines. I know the book. I know this part.
Yeah, it wasn't like
I am the character.
It wasn't I need this.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
I was just like, oh, I deserve this, and this is right for me. Yeah.
When they called you, your agent called you. What was the exact message?
Hey
Ashley, it's Dawn.
Dawn. I picked up, and he said, hey, so they got back to me on Twilight, and unfortunately you're gonna have to cut your hair. And I was like, you fucking what?
Did you scream?
I did. And then I started crying, and then I called my parents, and then they started crying. It was a really big thing. It still makes me emotional to think about it.
I'm watching and you're revisiting it.
Yeah, it was very, very, it was big for so many reasons, but it was also really cool too. I think my parents being so excited and proud of me was a really big moment too. So
I could see you getting a little emotional. I love that.
Oh my God.
That's what this show's about, man. It's about passion.
Yeah.
Did they tell you, hey, you're signing on for all these installments?
They signed us on for 3. The last book didn't exist yet, so they couldn't.
Were you, but you didn't know if you were going to get, obviously you read the book, so you knew you didn't die.
I asked I worked at the Belmont. I don't know if you know.
Yeah,
the Belmont. Okay.
Of course I know that. My friend Autumn worked, I think, at the Belmont.
Yeah.
Maybe.
So I was a hostess there, and I booked the role and said, oh my God, I booked this movie, but can I have my job back when I come back from filming? And he was like, you naive little child.
You're not going to need it.
You're not going to need it, but you can have it if you want it. And I was like, okay, great. So yeah, I had no idea. And it was really my first big experience on set. Like Were you nervous? I did day player roles. I wasn't. Again, like, I think there was such a, like, the naivety was really my friend in those situations, because I was just kind of like, okay, cool. Like, this is great. Like, I knew, like, everyone moves out to LA knowing that they're going to make it. Right. And so
that's the idea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you don't move out to LA and go like, oh, I hope I make it.
Well,
like,
I think the mistake is a lot of people come out thinking, oh, I'll give it a shot. I'll come out, you're not going to make it if you're going to give it a shot.
Yeah, yeah.
You got to come out saying, I'm going to make it.
Yeah.
That's what I think. Yeah.
And so, yeah, I came out and was like, this is what I'm going to go, and I'm going to work hard, and I'm going to be successful. And so I was just kind of like, oh my God, this is great. It's my first role that I'm actually on set for longer than a week. What a job. And then we were all kind of kids, and like it seemed more of like an independent film than what it became, because it was kind of an independent when there were those middle ground independent films. You know, it wasn't like a 1.5 million, but and then I just kind of hit the ground running, and it was just, I don't know.
Do you remember seeing yourself for the first time on the big screen in Twilight?
I do. Yeah.
And what do you remember thinking?
I don't like seeing myself on screen. I was excited, but I think the same response I have now, where I'm just like, oh man, it's hard to separate myself from what's on screen.
Yeah.
And so I remember it being kind of hard to watch myself.
And the older you get too, it's like I'm starting to get wrinkles and my face doesn't look
Oh
the
yeah,
same.
I just watched something
I'm
last
looking
night and I
older.
was like, God, stop being so vain.
I'm just like, you know, I was looking at some other actor. I was watching some show and I was like, gosh, look at the wrinkles in his forehead. He's younger than me.
This is why when they're like, nobody
So
cares
judgy.
as much as you think they
Judgy.
care. And I'm like, really? Because I'm very judgmental.
Yeah.
So,
I think we're all judgmental. It's like,
Yeah.
you know, I just was like, man, you should get a little Botox.
yeah,
Just a little.
Just a little
Just a little
though.
tox.
Yeah.
Not a lot of tox, but just a little
just
tox.
a little bit. It's not bad for you if it's a little.
How much did your life completely change from that moment on?
Completely. I mean, I went from working at the Belmont to being on set most of my year, or traveling internationally and doing press, or being on magazine covers. Like it was just a complete
A lot of
180.
offers come out.
Yeah, which we turned them all down because they were like, to be a vampire. You know how that goes.
Yeah.
When you play a vampire, they're like, oh, she can play a vampire. Put her in this one. So we turned down a lot. And that was when things kind of, the only shift that I like consciously remember, because a lot of this stuff, like I started unpacking this a couple of years ago. I did a podcast, a rewatch, and we were talking about how like we didn't realize it was a Twilight rewatch podcast.
You did?
Yeah. I was pregnant and I was like,
That's
this will be
great.
great. Yeah. But we really started unpacking these things, and all of us had the same response of like, when it was happening, we didn't realize the intensity. We were like in this bubble together, and it created a really special bond. But like, we're now looking at it going like, oh yeah, that's why, you know, I maybe went off the deep end here. This is why, like, you get so in your head about things, but not recognizing why, or
Right.
that this is all just not normal at all, especially as a 20-year-old, to then have like hyper focus on you as you're trying to kind of figure it out. But I do, I do remember going, oh, this isn't as fun as it was, because every move I made mattered all of a sudden.
You're noticed like crazy.
Yeah, and like any job you take, like this could be a misstep and this has to be right, and you can't be seen with this person, and you should be at this event. And so I do remember going like, this is a lot of like,
It's hard to be yourself.
Like I used to have a lot more fun auditioning, you
Yeah.
know, and now it was like everything was big. Like what I was going out for, you know, it was everything would be such an epic opportunity to be a part of. And so I had to like, it took a while, but like figure out how to actually have fun again with what I was doing.
I think that's normal. I think that happens with everybody. I think whatever you're doing, I think you lose sight of yourself, of who you are, of what you want, of enjoyment,
Yeah.
experience, memories. And then at some point you go, you know, what am I doing? This isn't, I don't want to do, I'm just going to be,
Yeah.
you know, but it takes time. It's like the lens is right in front of you, everything you do at that age. And
Yeah.
Inside of You is brought to you by Shopify. Hang on, listen to this, folks. If you are starting a new business, small business, medium-sized business, a large business, Shopify is there for you. If you're selling products, you can't use anyone. I'm telling you. You must use Shopify. Shopify is so easy to use and navigate. If you have a new product, you simply take a picture of the product, you upload it. It's right there on the page. If I can do this, you can do it. You put the price, you put a description, you put how many you have in stock. And what's amazing is you can check the analytics. You can check we didn't sell many of these shirts, or, oh, these hats sold really well, so let's order more of those. It keeps track of how many, products you have left and how much you made compared to last month. So you could actually watch in real time your store growing. I love it. It's so easy to navigate, and it's so easy to use, especially when you're sending things off in terms of postage and whatever. It's all right there for you. Easy to use. Ryan, when you think of, businesses that are selling through the roof, like, give me one, Allbirds, right? That's one. You think about a great product, a cool brand, and brilliant marketing, but an often overlooked secret is actually the business behind the business, making selling and/or shoppers buying simple, right? So for millions of businesses, that business is Shopify. And if you have a product and you want to get it out there, this is where you start. Shopify. Nobody does selling better than Shopify.
Home of the #1 checkout on the planet.
And the not so secret with Shop Pay that boosts conversions up to 50%, meaning way less carts going abandoned and way more sales going cha-ching.
So if you're into growing your business, your commerce platform better be ready to sell wherever your customers are scrolling or strolling. On the web, in your store, in their feed, and everywhere in between.
Businesses that sell more sell on Shopify. Upgrade your business and get the same checkout we use with Shopify. Sign up for your $1 per month trial period for 3 months at shopify.com/inside, all lowercase. Go to shopify.com/inside to upgrade your selling today. Shopify.com/inside.
The title of the book, The Talented Farter.
Yes.
What is that going to be?
Never.
This is a wonderful story about a little boy whose only gift, his only real talent is tooting. He can make his toot sound like everything you hear in everyday life. So little Michael loved Halloween, but nothing frightened his friends more than when Michael would stink up a good scare. Can you hear that?
Oh, I heard it.
It is a lovely story, and it's beautifully illustrated by my friend Heath, and Simon & Schuster's putting it out. It's going to be in tons of bookstores and available on Amazon. I'm so proud of it.
You didn't get paid very much in the first one, did you?
Well, at the time I thought it was a lot. But no, I think we got Schedule F.
You got Schedule F for the first
I
one?
think so.
Wait a minute. So the whole movie you might have made 50 grand?
Yeah, I think we got 65.
65 grand for Twilight. The second one, though.
Then we started getting paid. Yeah, but the first one I was like, which I guess, I think Peter Fetchinelli probably know because he had been established, but all of the people who hadn't done much. Yeah.
He was on the podcast. He's great.
Yeah, he's so funny.
He's such a
He's
good
like
guy.
a big kid.
Yeah. There has to be, when I watch this, I just go, oh, there were clicks. There were clicks. There had to be some. There had to be popular. Like I look at when I watch it, and I like Robert Pattinson and I like Kristen Stewart, but I look at them and I go, oh, they were in their own world. I have a feeling they were in their own world, away from everybody.
Wrong.
Okay, I'm wrong.
Yeah. Because there was certainly disagreements between us, and like it was kind of like family. Like we had a love-hate sometimes where like we'd get frustrated with each other, but like there's always when you're a part of something like that, like there's a bond there. Like you're with the only people in the world who know what you're going through. And so I think that created like a really special bond for all of us. And we would, by the second one, couldn't really leave our apartments. And so we would just stay in. Rob would play guitar. And we would, Jackson would play or sing. Nikki kind of sang sometimes. We would play games. We would drink. We would hang out indoors. So,
do you still hang out with everybody or see everybody? I mean, everybody's got their own lives now.
Yeah. Well, the conventions are nice because the four of us, me and the boys, have like a group chat, and we basically try and just do conventions together because it's a lot more fun.
That's cool. Yeah, we do that with our class too.
And so I see them now quite often. But before that, it had been years because everyone was in a different part of the world, and then people started having kids. And so it does make it harder to keep in touch. But no, after I'd think most of them I'm still in touch with.
But like if you saw Robert or Kristen, they'd immediately come up to you.
Yeah.
Like you'd be cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, it wouldn't be weird.
No. Would it for you and your cast?
No.
Yeah.
It wouldn't be weird.
I feel like
it's just it's been years, and it's just like everybody goes in their own careers, in their own directions. So we see each other more. We're kind of a tight group, but like everybody's kind of gone out, families, this and that. So it'd be a little different if that were the case.
It's almost like, I feel like it's kind of like seeing one of your like hometown friends, that
dude.
Yeah. Like, oh my God, dude, how have you been?
Are
I haven't
you?
seen you in, what has it been? It's been 6 years. Like, it's kind of that.
Right.
Yeah.
I love that. So how do you feel about horror movies? Because you have a new horror movie, It Feeds, coming out.
I do.
Do you?
I like
are
them
you scared of horror movies?
Certain ones. So there's the ones that are sadistic, I don't like. That well, actually I did like The Purge, but like there's, like the Saw movies, I am not, the gore, like I'm not really interested in the fact that people can be that inhumane is, I don't love to know that like that exists in the world, and I certainly don't love watching it. But any kind of like entity, psychological thriller,
Paranormal.
like those things, yeah, I think are fun to watch.
So what is It Feeds?
It Feeds is about like a paranormal, like an entity that feeds on your fear and attaches itself to you. And so I am a therapist that is able to kind of under the radar. She doesn't really make it super popular, but is able to go into your brain and start to unlock why you are the way you are if you have very deep trauma and damage. And so there's someone comes to her house with this, and it ends up attaching itself to her daughter. And so she has to go in and fight this entity basically to protect and save her daughter.
Ashley Greene. It Feeds.
It Feeds. And I was doing this. My baby was 6 months old, and I was like, you want me to do a movie where they take my child? Like, I don't know, dude.
It was probably easy for you to get emotional.
It was really hard because I was so blocked off. Like, it was such a protected piece. And I'm usually really, as you see, very emotionally available. But I remember it being incredibly hard because I was like, I don't want to go there. But
you eventually went.
I didn't use my daughter. I substituted because I was just not willing to.
Yeah,
to
I
do
used
it.
my friend's daughter.
I imagined my friend losing her daughter, and that made me really upset.
Yeah, that got the performance for me.
Yep.
Do you just get offers for a movie like that? They just make you an offer,
Mm-hmm.
and they say, "Hey, you're going to film in Connecticut for I don't know where to film."
We were near Toronto.
Near Toronto, you're going to shoot for 4 weeks.
So we were there for 2 months, 6 weeks.
6 weeks. Yeah. We're going to pay you this. And it's a pretty good life. Like, they take care of you.
Yeah, it's been, it makes me feel good that like I have worked with people and then people go, oh, I worked with her and she's great and I would like to work with her again. Or like a lot of the stuff that I do now is through word of mouth. And it's kind of like a side of the industry that I didn't really think about or understand existed.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's kind of nice to be able to choose.
Do you still honestly love acting? Like, do you wake up and you're like, I want to act. I want to be in something.
Yeah. Yeah. There's nothing else I'd rather do.
Nothing.
No.
If you had to.
I don't know.
You don't know.
No. I used to think I wanted to go into criminal psychology before I started acting. And so I think that's still fascinating. But no, there's nothing I think that could fill me the way that this does. There's something like Paul's always like, you're happiest when you're on set. You're absolutely a happier human being. And like, it's stressful, the prep and the hours, and then trying to come home and be a full-time mom and a full-time actress is definitely a lot on your plate, but I wouldn't change it for the world.
Paul seems like a great guy.
Oh, yeah,
I could, this might be superficial, but when I see a post of you two, I look at him and I think, that's a genuine guy.
Yeah.
Like I just feel it. I feel it.
Do you, like, are you an energy person?
I feel I am.
Okay.
And I'm a Cancer.
Yeah,
I'm very
you said
sensitive.
when you were younger. Yeah. So his energy is so incredible. Like,
he's an Aries, isn't he?
He's a Virgo.
Isn't that close?
I don't know. I don't really actually follow that stuff. Like, I just know that like vibrations and energy are a very real thing. And
yeah. What are you?
Pisces.
Oh, I love Pisces.
Yeah.
Pisces are good people.
Well, emo Pisces.
Aries, Virgo, Gemini, Cancer, Pisces.
Are you just naming all of them?
No, that's it.
Okay.
The rest. I don't know about.
Yeah. But no, he's you'll have to meet him. He's literally one of the most incredible person. And like I always say, like like if we go to events, I'm like, I'd get us in the door, and then he's the one that secures the relationships because everyone just wants to be around him.
Right.
Yeah.
And I mean, I read that you went out with Joe Jonas
I did.
for a year.
I did.
If you saw him, would you be like, "Hey, how's it going?"
Maybe. We actually haven't spoken in such a long time, but yeah, I'd probably be like, "How are you?" I think he has kids now. And
Was it weird? Was it like, was there more attention on you at that point when that was going on? Because
yeah, I didn't. I remember not.
we don't have to talk about it.
No. I just didn't want to. I didn't want to be photographed with him, which he was kind of like worked, and I think that's why we worked together. Is that I was uninterested in being known for dating someone, and I think he was very used to people wanting to be known for dating him, and so it kind of yeah. Where I was like, oh, I don't want to go out to dinner. You can cook me dinner at the house, and then eventually realized that we were actually going to be in a relationship. But I think that's such a hard thing too when you're growing up in this industry. Is like anyone that you're seen with. My brother, I was photographed with, and they said it was a mystery guy, and he was like, "Ew, I'm never walking beside you again."
This is based on your gut. You have to give me an immediate yes or no.
Okay.
Would you want your daughter to be an actor?
No.
There you go. All right, this is called Shit Talking with Ashley Greene. These are my top tier patrons. They're going to ask you questions. It's rapid fire, or you could take your time.
Top tier patrons, okay.
Yeah, patreon.com/inside of you. They support the show, and I love them. And Raj, hello, Raj. Tell me about a recent time someone was able to cheer you up when you were feeling down.
Oh gosh, my daughter, when I get frustrated, she goes, "Are you mad?" And then now she goes, "Mommy, control your emotions, or be aware of your emotions." And I'm like, okay.
Oh my God.
And it works every time because I'm like, you know what? They're such sponges, and I taught her that, and now she's repeating it to me. And so, yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
Flirtatious B. If you could have one power, what would it be?
Oh, I think to fly.
Yeah, wouldn't that be just awesome?
Yeah.
I've dreamt of flying.
Yeah, flying I think there's like the ultimate freedom in flying. Like there's always Alice could see the future, and everyone asks if I would want to do that, and I absolutely would go insane if I could see the future. So
Or be invisible.
Ooh, that would get you in trouble though.
Yeah, well, I wouldn't do anything pervy.
No, not that. I'm just saying like you would you would just like end up like dropping in on conversations you shouldn't.
Hey guys,
it would almost be like mind reading.
Dude, visible mic again.
The perv over there in the corner.
Leanne. Hello, Leanne. Do you believe in the supernatural?
I do believe in, yeah, I do.
Cicely. Since you did Twilight and you burnt out from the vampire media, are you burnt out from the vampire media, or do you still watch vampire movies or shows? If so, what's your favorite? Did you see Nosferatu?
No, I did not see that. Honestly, I'm like, I have a 2-year-old. I haven't seen. I'm the worst.
You're the worst.
The worst. Yeah. Whenever she sleeps for a while, maybe I'll watch the movies. Okay. Interview with the Vampire was and is still one of my favorite vampire movies. Yeah. But no, I'm not. Everyone's different, but I loved being a part of Twilight, and I loved my character and loved playing a vampire. So I don't feel like I'm burnt out on that at all.
I love it. You shouldn't be. Taylor R., did you read any of the Twilight books before? Yes, you did.
Nope. Just kidding.
You read, but you read all of them.
I read them all. I haven't finished. There's a book called Midnight Sun that came out after the series ended. That is Twilight in Edward's perspective versus Bella's perspective, and I did not.
Would they ever do kind of revamp something or bring something?
Revamp it.
Revamp. Would they ever bring something back, and would you do it?
I would do it. I said, this is, I know AI is a sore spot in our industry. I said, but it would be beneficial if they wanted to make us younger, because vampires don't age. And so everyone, when they ask if I would do it, I said, I would love to, but I'm, 15 years or 12 years older than I was when I started.
Well, you don't look it.
Oh, well, God bless you. But I don't look like a high schooler.
But you would do it. But
I would do it. Yeah. If it in an alternate universe, if it could work out, absolutely.
Little Lisa, did you ever experience a moment? Hi, Little Lisa. When a stranger showed you a loved one an incredible act of kindness?
I feel like people show me kindness all the time.
Where do you see yourself like 5 years from now or 10 years from now? Like, what's the goal? Do you just want to keep working, be the best mom you could be the best wife, be the best whatever?
Yeah, I wish I was better at comedy so I could just do like So, well, not that they really exist anymore, but a comedy because their schedules are so easy. But it's hard because I want both. Like I want to just be the best mom in the world, and I also want to be the best actress in the world. So hopefully in 5 years, if I could find the perfect balance of those two things, it would be wonderful. Paul and I say all the time, like we have a really good life. So I don't know. I think I don't know, win the lottery, make enough money to like take care of my entire family would be really nice, and his family, and just create like a giant compound where all of my friends could live. Like that would be tight.
That's my dream. I send pictures of like compounds to my friends and going, hey, but unfortunately, my friends are real folks and they work hard for a living and they're not ready to retire. And, so that dream of mine has to be
just postponed,
set aside.
But I'm with you.
But I go at least once a week to the gas station and buy $150 worth of lottery tickets and scratch them off.
Yeah.
I do the scratch offs. And I won $76 yesterday.
Oh, well, there you go. That's the start. Put it in a little jar.
Yeah.
Or reinvest it.
But I lost 14 because it was $100.
Still a win.
Yeah. But I like that stuff. I like that's the idea. I mean, if everyone around you didn't have to worry.
Yeah. And I daydream and like where we had like, I'm certainly not going to be the person that grows my own food, but someone on the compound would grow our garden. And
you're the gardener.
I'm the,
not you, the proverbial you. Someone,
Yeah. I'm not, I don't know what I would do on the compound. I would take care of the kids.
Can you cook?
Paul's a really good cook. You have to meet, he's the best. He cooks for us because I can cook, but again, think Marine dad. So like I cooked to survive, like I ate to survive, not necessarily with flavor and yeah.
So It Feeds, when can we see this?
I think it's coming out in...
it's coming, look for It Feeds.
It premieres April 16th, so I think shortly after that it will be on, I believe it's going to Hulu.
And anything else you're working on?
There's a movie that I did called The Ritual with Al Pacino and Dan Stevens.
What? You worked with Al Pacino?
I did.
How was that?
It was so fun.
Was he like? Was he like, Ashley, how you doing today?
He was like, like anyone who like gets to a certain age, like loves to tell stories.
Oh yeah.
Like he very much was in that to where like sometimes we would be like doing a table read and he would just go off on this tangent of these stories and we were all just wrapped. Like, we were like, we don't care about this movie. Tell us all your stories.
But you had scenes with Al Pacino.
I did have, I did. It was bucket list. He was very
present.
Very, like it was cool to watch him. He would just turn it on. Like the camera would come on and then he would do his thing and it would turn off and he would go back to his chair and just.
Were you starstruck?
No, I don't get starstruck a lot.
Wow.
I was not starstruck, but I'm so in my head about like my stuff that I don't know, was focused on it.
Ashley, here's what we're going to do. I'm going to do this scene again. You're going
to. I was like, yes, sir. Whatever you want, sir.
My God.
At one point, I think he like came over to me and I thought he was going to talk to me. He's like, can you move out of my chair? It's like, oh, fuck. Yeah.
Well, he's joking.
No. He wanted to see really.
No, I want you to get the fuck out of my chair.
No, he was nice about it, but I was just like, oh, yes, Mr. Pacino, I'm so sorry. But yeah, that one's about one of the most heavily documented exorcisms that happened in the Catholic Church in the 1920s.
I am in for that one.
Yeah. So I watched that one last night.
You saw it?
I saw it.
What'd you think?
Yeah. I thought it was good. I have a couple of notes, but overall pretty good. They asked for them. So
great.
But yeah, I think overall it's going to be really cool to see. I really want to see it in like a theater. They're going to do a theater release.
See if you can get a link and we could show it in my screening room. Downstairs. I got the big 4K.
I'll ask. We'll see how much they trust me.
You can bring Paul over and I'll bring, a couple people and just like a few of us.
Yeah.
I'd love that.
Okay. I'll ask them. I'll ask.
That'd be great.
I love that you have a screening room.
Yeah. I mean, it's not like, this giant like ArcLight freaking AMC theater.
Well, we do live in Los Angeles.
I have a couch. It's like, it's just a nice room. I converted, folks, the garage. It was a garage and I converted it into like a little fun screening room, hangout room.
He's super rich and super famous.
No, it's not true. Not true. If that were the case.
You're like, I would not be here with you.
That's not true. I'm honored to be here with you. This has been a real treat. Thank you for being here.
Of course.
Thanks for coming over in the rain.
Happy to. I love the rain. I'm a Florida girl. So
this has been a real treat. I don't want to let you go.
I'll just stay here. It's fine. It's raining outside.
Just sit in silence.
Hang. I'll look at all of your memorabilia.
Do you have a dog?
I do.
All right. Well, listen, I'm going to give you, I have a product called Rosie's Puppy Fresh Breath for your dog's breath. So I'm going to give it to you. You just drop in your dog's water, odorless, tasteless.
Created a dog mint?
Rosie's Puppy Fresh Breath on Amazon. It's awesome. You're going to love it.
I am going to love it.
I'm going to give it to you.
Thank you.
All right. Thanks for being here.
Thank you.
Thanks, Ashley, for being here. You are a sport. I met you at a con. We had met years ago at a Dubba Dubba party. I call it a Dubba Dubba. It's a WB party.
Like the frog?
Yeah. Remember that frog?
I remember the frog.
Yeah, that frog. Yeah, that was a corny network.
Hello, my baby. Hello, my honey.
But they supported, they gave me work.
Yeah.
So I can't.
Until they became the CW.
CW.
Got sleek.
Hey, we're the WB. So, yeah, I don't know. How about CW? Okay.
I don't know what CW stands for.
Commonwealth.
Like Virginia. Virginia's a Commonwealth.
Yeah, it is a Commonwealth.
I think it's Commonwealth. I think you're right.
You think?
We're not going to look it up. I think we're going to go with it.
We're going to go with Commonwealth. I could come up with other CWs.
You know, all those hot Commonwealth actors.
Yeah. Do you know that I had an actor on the that did the podcast that she was in a WB show or CW show or whatever. She's like, yeah, I've been wanting to do your podcast, but the publicist of the CW told me not to.
What?
And I was like, what? Why? It's like, oh, they were worried that you'd ask questions that would, put me on the spot or whatever. And she's right. No, but that did happen. And this person was like, but I'm glad we're doing it now.
That's good. Well, because you get a lot of CW people, and they're always nice. And if anyone wants anything, we are very amenable to this.
Well, yes, but the problem is that the publicist of the CW, I thought was a friend of mine.
Oh.
Was really, but I don't think she did it I don't think she was doing it to be a bitch or anything like that. I think she was just doing it because she was like, hey, this is a certain character. It's sensitive, and I just don't want you doing anything that gets too deep.
Yeah.
I want to keep it light. So maybe she was just protecting her. So I understand it. I don't have any harsh feelings now that I've worked it out.
We got there.
I just worked it out here today.
That's good.
Yeah. That's about it. Thank you to all my patrons who we're going to give a shout out now to. If you want to join, patreon.com/Insidey. There's so many perks. I send boxes to people. There's some people that have been here over 5 years, and they're about to get a 5-year gift, which is extraordinary. Bryce and I talked about it. I'm going to show you what they are, and I think they're going to be excited. We're going to start giving them out as, Anyway, so we get boxes out, and there's even tippity top tiers. What do we call the very top tier?
Tippity top sounds right.
No, tippity top. No, it was
top tier. Elite, platinum, gold star.
No, it was how deep is your love tier? There's the how deep is your love tier, and there's some people on there who have joined, and they're going to get some fun things. So check out the tiers, patreon.com/Insideyou. And here are the top tiers in no specific order. These are just all awesome people. Nancy D, Little Lisa, Yukiko, Brian H, Niko P, Rob L, Jason Dreamweaver, Sophie, my choice, Raj C, soon, Jennifer, no. Jennifer, how are you? Stacey L, Jamal F, Janelle B, Mike Eldanzsupremo, 99 more, Santiago M, Madi S.
Kendrick F, Belinda N, Dave Hole, Brad D, Rae H, Tabitha T, Tom N, Talia M, Betsy D, Rhiannon C.
Yes, Rhiannon C. Michelle A, Jeremy C, Eugene and Leah, Mel S, Eric H, Oracle, Amanda R, William K, Kevin E, Jorel, Jammin J. We got Leanne J, Luna R, Jules M, Jessica B, Kaylee J, Charlene A,
Marion Louise L, Romeo the band, Frank B, Jen parenthesis.
Yeah, I think it's Jen. It's probably Jen Talkerman. But if not, Jen,
There's something cut off.
Jen sad face. Yeah, something's cut off, Bryce.
Oh.
He's never going to listen to this.
No. April R, Randy S, Claudia, Rachel D.
I want to know which Jen it is. Change the name. Put your whole name so I can read your whole awesome name. Go ahead.
Nick W, Stephanie and Evan.
Steven.
Mm-hmm.
Charlene A, Don G, Jenny B716E, NG Tracy, Keith B, Heather and Greg Grether. They gave back to the Food on Foot organization, foodonfoot.org. My friend Rob Danson, who's my cohort in the band Sunspin, and he works for the nonprofit Food on Foot to stop homelessness. Stop.
Hunger and homelessness.
Hunger and homelessness.
Something
Homeless.
Like homeless.
You don't want to say homelessness. Homeless.
Unhousedness.
Helping out the homeless and getting them shelter. But anyway, they want a lunch. They donated or bought lunch with me, and we're gonna have a sweet ass lunch. Ellie K, Ben B, Pierre C, Sultan of Swing, Ingrid C, Dave T, David L, Jeff G, Kareem H, Brian B. Thank you for all the support. We love you. If we're a little bit tired today, it's because we woke up early, like we said earlier. What time is it? We got our guest coming at 10, so we got a little time.
We are packing things in today. We're going to get a lot done.
Well, after that, I got to go to the doctor.
Oh, shit. That's no fun.
So we're not packing that much in. We're doing ads, and then we're doing the interview.
Well, it depends what kind of doctor's appointment.
Whoa.
You
talking like a proctologist, man?
I think
Is that what you're talking about?
I think that's what I was referencing.
I think people are going to be like,
I don't think it was a clean one.
You're going to be like, Ryan and Rosie are kind of giggly and off today.
Yeah.
Kind of like it.
That's what happens when you start a couple hours earlier.
Yeah, man. I woke up at I didn't sleep a wink last night. Not a wink, man. Not a wink. It was brutal. So I think this is a warm up to the interview.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's right. Thank you for watching from the Hollywood Hills in Hollywood, California. I'm Michael Rosenbaum.
I'm Ryan Taze.
Yes.
Hello.
Little wave to the camera. We love you. We'll be more alert next week. Be good to yourself. I'll see you.